congratulations to
Thank
the
you.
entire team. That is so cool. And would you like to share with our listeners and our viewers about how you used AI, ChatGPT, to support you in the publishing process? Let's put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know there's a lot of chat about using AI. My AI did not write my paper. Don't worry about that. I got a round of revisions back. So we submitted the paper, came back with major revisions, which some of them we could address pretty easily. There was one in particular that was kind of vital for the paper, but we just didn't have access to the equipment, but it needed to be addressed. It was a major kind of overarching question of the paper that we hadn't answered. So, and I couldn't find anywhere online of any way to work around this. I chatted to my supervisor, he wasn't sure. So I basically copied the reviewer's point into ChatGPT and said, we don't have access to this equipment. Can you provide me with an alternative experiment? And I had to word it a couple of ways until I got an answer. But I did eventually get a couple of answers and I checked them. One of them was completely valid. We tested it, it worked, and the reviewer was happy with it, and no more corrections required, accepted straight away after those major revisions were applied. So that was, I would have never been able to, like, the paper probably wouldn't have been published there otherwise. We probably would have had to pull it and submit to maybe a lower impact journal or something, because it was a question that this was the only way it could be answered and we couldn't think of another way. So that was actually, yeah. So it can be used to your advantage if you use it correctly and ethically, and
Absolutely. Yeah. Can you tell us what the question was, or will you tell me after we stop recording?
I can tell you, yeah. So it was basically, they were asking about the mechanism of the catalysis. So we had proposed that it was something based on other experiments, and he was just like, yeah, like it's pretty commonly known that that's it, but you need to prove it for your own system. So he just wanted us to prove that certain free radicals were being produced. And he asked us to use a technique called EPR for that, so electroparamagnetic resonance. So it kind of looks at the free electrons and spins and stuff in your system. And we just didn't have access to it. There was one person that we thought of that we could have collaborated with, but we kind of wanted to get it out fast, and we weren't sure if it would even work with our system anyway, because it was quite a complex system. So I asked ChatGPT, and it was like, oh, you can use this radical probe. And it's just a molecule that you put into your system. It will react with the radical and become luminescent. And then you can do fluorescence spectroscopy and you can prove that the radical has interacted with that thing. And that was it. So we just did it in 4 different conditions, and the reviewer was happy and it got published. So it saved a lot of hassle trying to track down collaborators, and if our system even worked in the first place with that, so it was great. Yeah, it was awesome.
That is so cool. So this is a great example, I think, of how AI, or in this case ChatGPT, and human brain work together, collaborate in the best way possible to answer a scientific question. This is amazing. This is exactly what the AI ChatGPT is supposed to do. I'm so amazed. Did you tell the reviewer that this was from ChatGPT?
No, because I performed the experiment and everything. So I referenced the papers that, so when ChatGPT was like, you could try this, I looked up a couple of different papers, found papers that had done that technique, and then referenced those. Because ChatGPT can't give you references. So it was like, you can just do this. And I was like, I wonder if that's actually true or not, or if it's, because sometimes when you ask ChatGPT for anything to do with experiments, it's just like, yeah, just throw all this stuff together and see what happens. And sometimes there's elements that are in your product that aren't even in any of your starting materials, and it can be a bit wild sometimes. So I double checked it, and it was actually valid. I found a good few papers to support it, and then did the experiment myself based on the experimentals that were in those papers. Because even though ChatGPT was like, do this, it didn't give you any specifics on how to do it. It was basically like, this molecule can be a probe, so just add that to your system. But it didn't say how much, it didn't say what conditions. So I did need to look for papers to support that. Yeah.
Okay, so whatever ChatGPT or any other AI system comes up with, all the scientists who are listening, make sure you validate it, you cross-check it, you double, triple, 10 times check it, and find the correct authentic references to support ChatGPT.
We hope you enjoyed this snippet. Check out the full episode by following the link in the show notes. A lot of work goes into creating every episode of Under the Microscope. We meticulously look for the best materials and nanoscientists from around the world to feature on Under the Microscope. So do leave us a review and share your favorite episodes with your favorite people. Thank you very much.